This 10-year-old girl in communist Romania hangs a sign on her bedroom door. General manager, do not disturb. Her classmates laugh. Her teachers shake their heads. A female CEO from Romania in tech? Impossible. But today, that same girl runs a company valued at nearly $1 billion. She leads 200 employees across 42 countries, and she did it her way, building through 2 pregnancies, sharing her struggles openly, and completely rewriting the rules of what a CEO should be. This is the story of Alina Vandenberghe, and this video is not just about how she built Chili Piper into a tech powerhouse, but how she's changing what leadership looks like in 2025. And she's even thinking about writing a book. But before we get into this incredible story, hit the subscribe button and notification bell below or under my name. Every Wednesday, I break down how the most successful creators lead and build their empires. Now, let's talk about how a girl makes $150 a month has built a $1 billion company. So picture Romania in the early 90s. The country's just emerging from communism. Most kids are playing outside, but young Alina, different. She's glued to her computer, teaching herself while other kids call her weird. Quote, when I told my classmates of my goal to be a Fortune 500 CEO in high school, they all laughed at it because there weren't many women in this role. So they just thought my goal was not achievable. But here's what's interesting. Everything was stacked against her. She was growing up in a third world country. Being a woman in tech wasn't normal, coming from a modest background, 0 connections in the industry. But Alina had something really powerful, parents who believed in impossible dreams. Even under communism, they taught her she could be anything, even the president of the United States. But yeah, that's specific, but nothing looked like it. Her first real job, making $150 a month while studying her master's in computer science. My first job in B2B tech, making $150 a month while doing my master's in computer science. Some would say you were exploited. I say best learning experience ever. Then she came to work with the big guys in the industry, Thomas Reuters, Bloomberg's, Pearson. But here's where the story gets really interesting. She meets Nicolas at his startup, her future co-founder and husband, a classic startup love story. But then she left the job because, well, you can't fall in love with your boss. So quote, met Nicolas at his startup 20 years ago. Left because I was falling in love with my boss. Spent 10 years in corporate, then started Chili Piper together. Life has a funny way of working out. And in 2016, Alina and Nicolas made a decision that most people would call crazy. They sold their house, emptied their bank accounts, and went all in on a dream. No backup plan, no safety net, just pure belief in what they were building. Check this out. They moved into a tiny room above a gas station in Brooklyn. Not exactly the glamorous startup story you read about in TechCrunch. This wasn't about playing it safe. It was about building something real. For 2 straight years, they didn't pay themselves a single dollar. Every cent went back into the business. They went to every sales and marketing event they could find. And Alina played every role, SDR, AE, CS, product, founder. They bootstrapped their way to 3 million ARR by doing the one thing most founders forget, actually building what customers need. But this is where Alina's story gets really intense. While most founders were following the typical Silicon Valley playbook, she was writing her own rules. She's building Chili Piper to over $700 million valuation while carrying and growing life inside of her, not once, but twice. She's literally pitching to investors with morning sickness, running all hands meetings between doctor's appointments, making $1 million decisions while dealing with pregnancy fatigue. I can't imagine that. In one of the most vulnerable posts she shared, that night, lying there, I thought, I can't do this anymore. She was ready to quit, but Nicolas convinced her to wait until after the baby arrived before making any big decisions. Most founders would hide these struggles, keep up the perfect CEO image, but Alina, she turned these challenges into fuel. But that's how she built a $1 billion company her way, embracing this unconventional path. If you look around, you'll notice how many tech CEOs follow the same script. Stanford or Harvard degrees, Silicon Valley connections, huge VC rounds from day one. But Alina flipped the script completely. First, she built remote before remote was cool. Not just remote friendly, we're talking 200 employees across 42 countries, 0 offices, complete freedom. This was before COVID. Second, she ignored the pressure to fit the traditional CEO mold. When questioned if she could lead while pregnant, she didn't just prove them wrong, she documented the whole journey to show other women that it's possible. And third, she bootstrapped when everyone said to raise big money. They pre-sold contracts and built exactly what customers needed. No fancy VC money, just pure customer-driven growth. Now let's break down how Alina's rewriting the rules of leadership. She's leading with radical authenticity, Most unicorn CEOs play it safe. They share perfectly polished success stories, but Alina shares every wins, the losses, the doubts, the breakthroughs. She's building through pregnancy, being the only woman in the room full of male CEOs, dealing with imposter syndrome and the pain of conducting layoffs. She had to do a 20% layoff in November 2022. Some CEOs would hide behind a PR statement, but here's what Alina said. Quote, "One of the hardest days of my life was in November 2022, when I had to lay off 20% of my workforce. I debated sharing this because layoffs are much harder on those being let go than on those making the decision. But as someone who shares both successes and failures, this is a lesson I can't ignore." But here's what makes her different. She doesn't just share failures after they're fixed, she shares them in real time. When she's scared, when she's unsure, when she's figuring things out. This isn't just about being transparent, it's about showing that leadership doesn't mean having all the answers. It means being human enough to admit when you don't have the answer. Next, she's building sustainably through integration. Everyone talks about work-life balance, but Alina discovered something more powerful: integration. Think about it. When you love what you build, when you're truly passionate about your work, trying to separate work and life into neat little boxes doesn't really make sense. Instead of balance, she focused on integration, bringing life into work, bringing work into life, building a company culture that celebrates the whole person, not just the employee. I've never tried to find a balance between work and life because I always found joy in the work and I had a lot of passion for building things. So I just looked for ways to integrate the two. She built Chili Piper's entire culture around this idea: complete location freedom, flexible schedules, trust-based leadership, focus on outcomes, not hours. And the results are staggering. Over 40,000 customers, 43 million ARR, a valuation approaching $1 billion, all while creating a workplace where people don't have to choose between career and family. The power of showing up consistently, right? Now, this is crucial. Success isn't about viral moments or perfect posts. It's about showing up day after day, good days and bad days, when you feel inspired and when you don't. Alina's approach to building in public isn't about manufacturing engagement. It's about sharing real-time learnings, documenting both victories and failures, building trust through transparency, creating genuine connections with her audience, the high moments, and more importantly, she shares the lows, the things that didn't work, the lessons learned the hard way. Now, let's break down exactly how you can apply Alina's approach to your own journey. Here are 5 principles that drove her success. Number 1, start before you're ready. Don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't exist. Alina started Chili Piper from a room above a gas station. Your starting point doesn't determine your destination at all. Number 2, document everything. Your journey isn't about just you. By sharing it, you create a roadmap for others. Don't just share the highlights, share the process, the doubts, the breakthroughs. Number 3, lead with truth. Authenticity isn't just about being honest. It's about being human. Share your struggles alongside your successes. Your vulnerability is your strength. Number 4 is build in public. Don't wait until you've made it to tell your story. Share as you build. Let people see the real work, the real challenges, the real victories. And number 5, integration over balance. Stop trying to separate work and life into perfect compartments. It just doesn't work. Find ways to bring your whole self to everything you do. When you love what you build, work becomes play. Now, remember that general manager sign on a little girl's store in Romania? It wasn't just a title. It was about believing in possibilities when everyone else saw limitations. Today, Alina's not just the CEO, she's proof that you can build a billion-dollar company without losing your humanity. Lead with authenticity in a world that rewards conformity. Create success on your own terms while staying true to your values. She built something revolutionary, a tech company that values real life. No toxic hustle culture, no fake work family, just real humans doing great work. Here's what it all comes down to. You don't have to choose between being successful and being human. You can be a successful human. And most importantly, you don't have to wait for permission to start building your dream. Remember, your starting point doesn't determine your destination. Authenticity is your biggest competitive advantage. Build for impact, not just metrics. The future isn't about choosing between success and humanity. It's about integrating both. It's about building without boundaries, creating success on your own terms while staying true to your values. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit the subscribe button, click the link in the description to get the weekly newsletter where I share insights to help you build your empire. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Wednesday with another epic breakdown. Thank you.